Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Midtown High Dropouts. Paul and I are the only two OG dropouts on today, but we have a very special guest, Zoe.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2, the second one. I didn't think it'd get a sequel, but then it did, I guess.
Well, we knew once they made all that money, they'd make a second one.
You were right.
I think one of the directors actually fought against making a sequel.
Well, they had the director.
I just skimmed that.
The director actually stayed on until he didn't want to stay on. Now he's gonna make another bad movie or some bad movie. I forgot what he was on. Tim Miller is gonna do another movie, but it's on a property that's really bad. I don't remember what it was. So before we start getting into our thoughts of the movie, Paul, would you like to go over the premise of Deadpool 2 as poorly as possible?
Oh, hold on. I have the synopsis real quick.
No, you had to make it up, Paul. You can't just read it off the Wikipedia.
But the synopsis is beautiful. It's not. It's.
Paul, you gotta make it up.
Wait. It is made up.
Okay.
It's not even. Yeah. So. Okay. Did you even read the synopsis? It's like Ryan Reynolds wrote it while he was on a toilet.
All right. Well, I did read it. I know what you're talking about. You go for it. Any day now, Paul.
Okay. Yeah. Right here. So this movie's about Wade Wilson, a cafeteria worker who gets sick and tired of serving food, so he decides to go and live his life's dream of being a pro figure ice skater.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Why don't we say Deadpool 2 is a story about a mercenary, and we're allowed to say spoilers because
we are just gonna go straight into it because I'm too lazy to talk about the movie without spoiling it.
And so his girlfriend dies at the beginning of the movie. He's flung into a depression and an adventure of finding himself while trying to save a young boy's life from a time-traveling widower. Or whatever it's called when
What?
you are the
Cable. Time traveler's wife's husband. That was the joke. There we go.
Sure thing. And so we can get right into it.
So let's start with you. What did you think of the movie?
Well, I was gonna ask you guys what you would rate the movie. I'm terrible at ratings, but I really, really enjoyed it. I was shocked with how much I enjoyed it.
Did you like the first one?
I thought it was fantastic. I did. Something that I like a lot is the way that they sort of combined the seriousness of his character and also sort of hit those jokes. And so it was appealing to lots of different people. You know, sort of the people that are really into him and the people who are kind of just looking for a funny movie.
I'd agree. So let's sure thing we'll do the ratings. Paul, what did you think of the movie? What rating would you give it?
Yeah, I'd give it 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I'd agree. This is a solid. It's like a B.
It took all the best jokes from the first one and made them better.
I definitely think. Would you say that this is better than the first one, or would you prefer the first one to Deadpool 2?
It's been too long since I've seen the first one to make an accurate judgment.
I don't know. I like how deep they dived in this time. Like, it wasn't just dipping the toe. Like, they went all out. So I like this one a bit.
Yeah,
more.
I think I enjoyed this a lot more. I really. I guess we'll get right into it. I really like the opening sequence, which is the sort of James Bond-esque intro they did.
Oh yes, that was really nice, especially when they were. I read the New Yorker article review of Deadpool 2, and they said it was like trite and boring with how they sort of milked Vanessa's death throughout the intro sequence, but I thought it was funny. I thought it was tasteful.
I thought that was pretty good.
I liked all the subtitles, like the what the fuck is this?
The credits.
Oh god, no! Why did you do that?
They somehow tricked Celine Dion into doing a song for this movie, which was pretty great.
They tricked her.
I say that they tricked her because
I think it'd be an honor if I was Celine Dion.
And you were
to be a part of anything that Ryan Reynolds was a part of.
Well, she's Canadian, and so is he. So that's good.
Is Ryan Reynolds not actually Canadian, though?
He is actually.
No, he is actually Canadian.
He is
oh my gosh, he's so in touch with the character. That leads me to something else I wanted to bring up. So, I was reading about Ryan Reynolds. Apparently, he's racked with anxiety, especially before interviews and things like that. So with this upcoming, this one that just came out, apparently he was super stressed about it because there are so many expectations, and with expectations comes, nervousness and things like that.
With great power comes great responsibility.
That's
Get
right.
outta
This is a Spider-Man podcast. Have we done? When's the last time we did a Spider-Man episode?
The
it's
first one.
two episodes ago. I lied. We did one pretty recently.
Whoops.
But anyway,
No,
as you were saying, Zoe.
So if you look at sort of the way he interacts with people during interviews and things like that, he jokes around and things like that. And I think that kind of shows that he could get even... It's kind of how he's so in touch with Deadpool, and maybe that's why he plays the character so well, is because he kind of mimics the same way of coping with nervousness and unhappiness and things like that, is by covering up that.
Well,
with
he loves the
jokes.
character. He's been trying to get a movie made forever.
Yeah, I wonder, it seems like he really had a lot of power when they were writing the script, you know what I'm saying?
I think
he
he
was
did.
working alongside them.
Yeah, I think he does. Does he get a writing credit on this, Paul?
He does.
And
He does.
He did on the first one. I think he even took a pay cut so he could
Because
get
he's
his movie.
him as an
He's one
actor
of the-
is so much part of the process. It was really shocking. I haven't seen that before
And
in such a large movie.
I don't know if you know, but
You said he deals with anxiety and stuff. I thought you were going to say he gets fucking smashed before every interview and every event, like Chris Evans.
is that
I
what
didn't know Chris Evans
he gets
did that.
smashed before events?
Oh, have you not seen the Age of Ultron red carpet event? He is so fucking drunk.
I'm gonna be
It's
honest.
no
actually
idea.
hilarious.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was thinking of Chris Pratt. I'm like, oh, that's right. It's different, Chris.
You know.
Have you
old
seen
Chris
the,
is-
this is a really quick sidebar, have you seen the Fuck, Marry, Killed thing? That,
I have for Infinity War.
Chris?
yeah, that
Chris?
Tom Holland did and answered it really quickly? What an icon.
What was the too long didn't read of that?
Basically, they went around asking which Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, and Chris whatever.
Hemsworth.
Yeah, Hemsworth, the best one.
Not
You know,
not good enough
who
to
would-
remember his name though. Apparently.
Who would you fuck, who would you marry, and who would you kill? And they were all really deliberating over it, the entire cast. And then when they asked Tom Holland, he's like, fuck, marry, kill, really quick. And they were like, you had that too prepared. He's like, maybe I did.
He thinks about it all the time.
Yeah, you know he thinks about it. I love him.
I mean, don't we all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would answer the exact same he did. I think he killed Pratt. I don't remember. You'd have to look it up.
Anyway,
But
back to
back
the
to-
film. Other than Ryan Reynolds, would you say the cast was pretty well acted and well cast?
oh yeah, no, I love
I thought,
Thanos in this movie.
Josh Brolin's great.
Thanos.
Yeah, Josh Brolin is great in this movie. He has some of my favorite lines of dialogue, especially like the dubstep one.
And he put aside
dubstep
his
is for
racist
pussies.
beliefs.
Dubstep is for pussies. Yeah, the
It was
dialogue.
delivered very well.
All the writing in this is pretty good. It's really great.
I would say the one line in the entire movie that fell flat for me was the chimichanga line.
I
He
don't.
goes, time to make chimichangas when he gets out of the car, and I didn't understand it.
He just says that all the time. He said it in the last one.
Wow, I didn't even catch it.
I don't even know if that was like a joke. Well, I don't think it
It's
was.
a comic joke.
Yeah. And apparently it's from like the worst run of comics for Deadpool.
I mean, I know I've read it.
Oh
I
yeah.
just didn't know that they would, yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that
I
they would
think-
reference it.
I think my favorite gag in the movie was when he was talking about all the X-Men in an X-Mansion, and then
Oh.
it cuts to the side view of them closing the door because they don't want to even be involved.
Oh my gosh, I enjoyed that so much because it was so unexpected.
And
Oh gosh, it really got me.
Symbio made it, said it was like really meta because the only reason they got him was because Dark Phoenix is filming.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's pretty
Oh,
funny.
and they were around the same area?
I guess so. They were just
Same
That is
set.
because
hilarious.
I read the Evan Peters did an interview and he's like, yeah, they just called us and since we were around and we just shot it. Apparently there were
Gosh, that's fantastic.
different takes of it. One where it's like really dark, maybe, or more rated R than what we got, because all they did was shut the door. No, I was really surprised because when I heard about that before I saw the movie, I'm like, there's no way that they actually got him. But that was pretty fun.
That's hilarious. I mean, aren't they both owned by Fox though?
Yeah,
You
they're
wouldn't think it
both.
would be that hard.
They both take place
But
technically.
Fox hates Deadpool. That's why.
They both technically take place in the same universe, but the timeline's so fucked up that we don't even know.
Okay. Speaking of X-Men,
Yes.
I was going to talk about how. So one of the reasons why I love the X-Men in the comics, and that's an unpopular opinion in the server.
Apparently, I don't get it.
I dig them. They're my childhood heroes. I think I liked them before I even touched Spider-Man.
Just
But,
wait until Disney gets them back. Then everyone will start loving them again.
Oh my gosh, I am not a big fan of the X-Men movies though. They never really hit the characters the way I liked.
They're shit.
And they didn't.
You're
Yeah,
wrong.
not a big fan of them.
The best one already, First Class, Days of Future Past,
Did you
and
not like?
Apocalypse.
Did you not like Logan or anything?
I have not seen Logan.
What the
I
fuck?
was
It's not an X-Men
I know,
movie.
I know,
Logan
it's
is
so
a
bad.
huge action movie.
And at the beginning of Deadpool, the very intro scene where he hits the
little action, like the little
Logan figure
Yeah.
where he has a pole through him.
Yeah.
So the guy beside me was like, "Oh, haha, that's how the movie ended," and I was like, "No, I still haven't seen it."
You really?
But
Oh, you've been spoiled.
That's a massive.
yeah, I
L.
know.
That's unfortunate.
It's pretty late though. I don't think I have. It's not fair of me to get offended about spoilers. But anyways, as I was saying, so the X-Men's big thing for me, and the reason why I like them so much, is the found family trope, and that's kind of what they exemplify. As these people from different backgrounds are all brought together by the same thing, which is having the X gene, and everybody hates them. And I feel like the movies didn't hit that as well as this movie did. And
I mean,
the significance. Sorry, go
They
ahead.
hit the outdated reference for racism in the United
Yeah,
States.
they definitely did. That was very.
Well,
funny.
they did like invoke that trope in this movie quite a bit. The
racism one.
the found family stuff.
Oh
I'm a
no,
little-
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it worked pretty well to do. Actually, let's talk about the main driving force of the movie narratively, which is the kid. What did you guys actually think of Fire Fist? New Zealand kid. I don't know his name. What did you guys actually think of the kid? As
I
He
don't
was
feel.
alright.
I don't feel passionately about him as an individual.
He had the prison softest mouth award.
that was that joke got some groans in our theater. They're like, "Oh no!"
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
Did everyone just burst out laughing in yours? Because that's what the fuck's going on in California, Paul.
What do you mean? Everyone laughed when I saw it.
No, yeah,
I missed that joke completely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't even remember hearing that.
That sequence wasn't particularly. I wasn't a big fan of it outside of the dialogue, which is
The prison sequence.
the prison sequence. When it didn't really pick up until Cable showed up. I guess it was just kind of.
I think there were a lot of moments in the film that were entertaining, but not they didn't feel necessarily valuable. Like when all of the X-Force he assembled died right out of the bat. That was funny, but I felt like it was kind of a waste to introduce interesting characters and then to
Yeah,
automatically
why would
kill
you
them.
do that to
Well,
Brad
to be
Pitt?
fair, did you know Brad Pitt was almost Cable?
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that.
They almost got him for Cable.
Upgrade, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I think it's okay considering the joke we got. I thought it was really awesome that they got him for that cameo. I
I
guess
didn't actually recognize him as Brad Pitt, but I was like, wow, that man is attractive, whoever he is. And then I saw Brad Pitt at the end, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Of course.
we should actually let's break down the movie. I thought the action in this wasn't like great. I think my favorite sequences was the montage at the beginning. That was really cool.
That was super interesting.
Yeah,
when he was just murdering all of the different people.
Right. I really like that. I didn't think it really hit that high. And the guy who directed this, I don't know if you got the joke. During the beginning of the credits, it was directed by one of the guys who killed John Wick's dog.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get that joke. I haven't seen
That's-
John Wick
I
either.
got that.
That's because the dude who directed this one directed is one of the two directors on the John Wick of the first John Wick movie, and probably the second one. I don't remember.
The John Wick movies are really good.
Right, and
That's what I hear.
And a big part of that is how good the action is. I feel like we didn't really get a lot of that considering John
Well,
Wick's...
they also have different choreographers.
Right. But I feel like I kind of wish we got more of the Deadpool hand-to-hand murdering stuff as opposed to what we got here, which was a little more.
It's because he was dying for half of the action scenes. Like, I think one of the parts with a huge amount of action was when in the prison, and he was not doing too hot back there.
He did have the D-power collar thingy.
Something I thought was interesting is that the collar removes mutant powers and things like that, and I never, even though he's tied so closely to the X-Men, I never really thought of him as a mutant because he wasn't exactly born with it. So I thought it was interesting that he shut out his powers.
They did change the origin in this as opposed to.
Oh, did they?
Well, in the first one, they say his mutant gene is innate, and they just have to trigger it by doing a lot of stress.
Oh,
Has the
under
Weapon
the
X
stress.
program.
Right, and
I see.
And in the comics, they just had some extra mutant
They
genes
just-
lying around, right, and they just
Yeah.
pumped it right into him.
Hey, just put those genes in there. Hey, look, I'm a mutant now, guys.
Yeah, jeans, jeggings, whatever they might be, whatever gives him superpowers. But yeah, no, I did not catch on that in the first movie. I thought, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the
Never mind.
cancer's killing him in this movie.
Yep. Well, that's because the power turns off, so that makes sense.
That makes, there's no way that they would replicate this in the movie, but in the comics, his face is actually, it's so gross and
much
messed up,
more-
but it's actually continuously moving and messing up because the cancer, him and destroying his skin, and his healing factor is reinvigorating it. Scarring
And
is
then
actually
when-
moving and changing slowly.
But you forget that would require a bigger budget than they could
Well, this
even
got
attain.
a much bigger budget than the original film. This is like what
It was inspiring that the first one was sort of just fueled by a viral video being leaked or something.
Right, it
like
was
that.
it was test footage,
Quote unquote leaked.
and we don't know
Yeah.
who leaked it, but it was probably Ryan Reynolds who leaked that footage. Were there any
It's
fights?
kind of just. Sorry, go ahead.
Were there any other fights that were stand out other than the beginning montage? Because I didn't feel that was the case.
Juggernaut.
Oh right, he's great in this. We got a comic actor.
Ryan
Juggernaut.
Reynolds does a good Juggernaut.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that he did the voice for him too.
And they even touched on him being half brothers with Xavier.
Right.
Oh, I thought it was
Funny.
great when he was like, "Oh, but he's in a wheelchair, so I guess it's fine." I was like, "Damn, that's pretty rough."
Anything with Domino was pretty good. Her whole luck factor.
Right.
A lot of people were very upset with the casting of Domino, and I could see where that was coming from. But once I watched the movie, I feel like she fits in very well with the vibe that they're going. Super diverse cast, and I think that's a big part of the vibe that these movies are giving off. Is that it's kind of a bunch of eclectic, different types of people, and I like that they sort of diversified the cast to
Well, do you think
reflect that.
Do you think even if they casted her and still gave her the white skin, do you think that would have? I feel like there would have been very obvious backlash to that, even more so than to just her getting cast. Do you think that would have?
I don't know, because people
Look
are like,
better.
that's not comic Domino at all. And then now
Well,
it's
because
like,
I feel like that casting could have still worked, and you can still give her the white pasty skin that she has in the comics. But I feel like that gets backlash considering that she's a black actress.
No, I think that
I like the whole
you would
alopecia
either
thing they
cast like
did.
a white person
Oh, wait.
or if you were gonna do the white skin. But I think
no, I like the skin discoloration they did. It looked more natural.
yeah,
It
it's
made
like
more sense.
philitic. I can't pronounce that word.
I
But-
don't remember what it's called.
Michael Jackson had it.
Yeah, I
Which
thought
is
Domino
surprising
was
that they didn't
fine.
make a
I
Michael
didn't
Jackson
feel very
show.
passionately about her though.
I agree. Yeah, she was just there, and it was fine. I guess the
The
real.
Basic Instinct scene was really funny.
Oh, you're right. I I didn't make the connection that it was a Basic Instinct reference. I don't even know if that was intentional, but actually, it probably was. Right? It was shot just
It
like
was.
Yeah,
It was
shot,
intentional.
It was shot just like Basic Instinct. I guess the highlight of this movie is Josh Brolin as Cable. He's really
I
good.
want more Cable.
Yeah, and looks like we're gonna get.
I was disappointed that it wasn't gay enough, in my opinion,
It wasn't-
because I feel like in the Cable and Deadpool comics, they kind of have a
They're kind of gay.
they have a weird gay like kind of this chemistry that's very strange. And I was looking forward to see if they would implement that, and they didn't. But I did get a little bit of it with Colossus, so I'll survive.
Oh no, if they make another Deadpool and Cable movie, then
0 out of 10. Not gay enough.
Yeah, not gay enough.
Zoe, 2018.
Yeah, we're gonna have to boycott it. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I would support this series forever.
Ryan Reynolds said the third Deadpool, if he ever makes it, is going to be about Peter, just his day in his life.
I think Ryan Reynolds said at least that he doesn't want to headline in the next one. It's going to be an X-Force movie coming up.
I do. There are plans for that, but then the whole deal with Disney right now, it's really up in the air.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
I
I
think-
just don't want him to be so stressed out about it. Because if this one tore him up so much, like I respect like what he's given us, but I would hate for him to tear himself up.
Well,
I feel like when the Disney Fox deal goes through, they're just going to take Deadpool as he is and just be like, oh no, he can exist over here. He exists in
'cause
whatever plane of reality.
they can get away with that, considering what Deadpool is as a character. I'd be
The
pretty upset.
helicarrier in the first one.
I'd be pretty upset if they recasted him and they didn't just bring Ryan Reynolds over. Because that's
I think that there are a few roles that can't really be played by other people, like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, and I think that Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool is one of those. Honestly, I don't think anybody is ever going to be able to play him quite as iconically as Ryan Reynolds has.
I'd agree.
which is great considering the fact of how well he does it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sequences in a movie was at the very end, going through all those post-credit scenes, him shooting himself in the head like 2 or 3 times.
Right, that was pretty fun.
Him saving Vanessa was nice. Can we talk about that really quickly?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I said that was canon.
So Vanessa's alive then.
Right, which I
Okay, that's great.
Kind of, sort of
It kind
depends
of
on
negates the plot.
depends on if she wanted to come back for another one. They left that door open for her.
Is that what they?
But if we're
did?
talking about like the canon, ignoring the actress and things like that, if we're talking about the canon of this movie and of Deadpool's life in
Oh, yeah, then
the
that's canon.
cinematic universe, so like, are they living together
I-
and stuff like that? She's fine.
I guess so,
I think so.
because she's
Oh,
not
that's
dead.
so nice.
Because he managed to get him with the cheese spreader. And then there's also Peter's alive. That's pretty good. Did you guys hear about?
He wants Domino's
Honey,
email.
just walk home.
Did you guys hear about the cut post-credit scene that was too dark for the movie? That's what they said.
No.
Hit
So
me.
you know how he made the joke earlier that if he had time travel, he'd go back and kill baby Hitler.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
They filmed a scene where he goes back in time and kills baby Hitler, and it's shot from the perspective of the baby.
Oh, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, I would love to see that, but I don't know if we're gonna get it.
It'll probably be on the Blu-ray.
I don't know if it will, but I'd love to see it. If
I would certainly like to have the Blu-ray with the deleted scenes and things like that.
All the alternate joke cuts.
I
Yeah.
wonder.
Ryan Reynolds said he wrote like 3 or 4 different jokes for each scene.
Oh my lord.
Better.
Speaking of
Comedy.
alternate joke cuts, the one that was really popular was T.J. Miller's, ragging on him about his face in
Right.
the first movie.
That's all
do you
improvised.
guys- Yeah. Do you guys have any opinions about T.J. Miller continuing to be in these movies while he has sexual assault allegations
Well, I
against
think
him?
I don't give a
and
shit.
I think
a bomb
he's
scare.
a terrible. He's kind of a massive asshole. But I wasn't bothered by his presence in this movie. I thought he was actually pretty good. I don't know if they'll bring him back for another one.
No, he's not going to be in X-Force.
Okay. Well, and it doesn't bother me because I kind of thought he was annoying in the first one. This one, to a lesser extent, he wasn't as bad
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't
that kinda
appreciate
works
his
for his
presence
character of
just
Weasel.
because.
of those of his the stigma outside of the movie.
Yeah, and I was hoping that he wasn't going to be there just because it would be nice for him to not, be profiting off of this as long as he's made such terrible decisions and blah blah blah. But
So,
I also
you feel
appreciate the
same way about Johnny
significance
Depp in Crimes of Grindelwald.
Sorry, say that again?
So you feel the same way about Johnny Depp in Crimes of Grindelwald.
I don't know much about that, actually.
Oh, well, people are boycotting him because there's like allegations against him.
Right? Yeah,
I don't know. I just don't like
J.K.
to
Rowling's
see
like,
people
nah, I'm okay.
continuously profit when they probably should not be. But he's not going to be in the next one, and it doesn't bother me a whole ton. I was just a little bit disappointed.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
I can't say I have a super strong opinion
I
on
completely
this.
forgot about that until you brought it up.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Paul.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
That's-
I'm trying to think, like, what else is there to say
we
about
talked
this
about
movie?
the plot.
I mean,
I thought it was fine. I don't think this is a very plot-driven film.
I like
Oh, I
how
thought
they
it
didn't-
was.
Well, I don't think it.
I like how they
it
didn't
has
get into
to
how
be.
convoluted Cable's origin was.
Yes,
Right.
that was very nice.
I was surprised they didn't even like make a mention of Cyclops or Jean being their parents. I thought that was
Yeah, I was surprised
interesting.
about that
No,
as well.
clone of Jean Grey.
Oh,
I don't.
well, I don't know shit.
I don't know shit about Cable. I mean,
Oh, it was an evil clone of Jean Grey that Scott Summers had the kid with, and it's a really convoluted thing. I don't really understand it myself.
Something,
Explain it better.
something about the plot I did enjoy was how personal the stakes were. You know, a lot of it was
right.
Deadpool wrestling against his own morality and how he wants to save a kid, and that really drew parallels for me to the X-Force comics, where that whole crew kills Evan Sabanura as a child and blah blah blah. But a big part of that is like, I don't kill kids, like I never killed a kid, and I like him sort of wrestling with his own morality and things like that.
Oh, if we're talking about controversial things that are controversial, did you hear about how some people call this movie sexist in a way because of how they there's this thing in comic books called fridging where they kill off.
Yeah.
Right. Does that something that bothered you, or you felt that was an issue with this
When
movie?
she died, it crossed my mind, and I understand the concept behind fridging. I think it's an important thing to understand. And
don't think that
this
was
movie really fell into that trope, but it didn't bother me.
I don't
know.
I don't know if I necessarily agreed that it falls into that trope, but I don't think it really.
I mean, the thing behind it is that a woman dies for a male's emotional
Right,
pain
yeah.
and growth, and that's exactly what happened. But
I don't think
I don't
it
know.
was
It didn't bother me.
right. Yeah, I don't
just
think it was an issue either. I think that's
I don't have any deep thoughts about it. It's always, it's his movie, and it's circled around him. And, sort of her presence has been like this driving force behind him and his character growth for this movie and the previous one. And so I would say that I understand where people are coming from, but I don't necessarily think it's that big of an issue. And I wouldn't go so far to say it was sexist either. If you look at, what do you have two strong female characters in it that aren't, they don't fall into many tropes at all other than being themselves.
Yeah, I feel the
Domino
same
and
way.
Negasonic is what I'm talking about.
right. And Yukio, she's great. We should talk about how great she is, even though she says,
Oh my gosh, what does she have one line that she just repeats?
she says hi Wade several
Hi,
times.
Yukio.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
As he was dying, oh my gosh, that was rough.
Hi, Wade.
If
Yukio.
anything
He's
went
like,
if anything went on for too long, I think that sequence.
I think it was they milked it. I got the joke, but I was like, yo,
I was like,
end it,
I was
please.
like, how long are they gonna?
Did you notice the soundtrack was the same as when Logan died in Logan?
I heard
stop.
about that. That was I didn't make the connection because I don't remember scores good, and it's been a while since I've seen Logan. But I read up on it, and I was like, that's fucking hilarious that they did that.
Yeah, that is pretty brilliant. Yeah, it did go on really long. I did really enjoy, though, when he met her sort of in that purgatory afterlife type thing in their room, and she was like, I'll be here when when it's your time or whatever. I just thought that was a very nice and comforting thought, that your loved ones will be there waiting for you and you don't have to rush to go see them or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was inspiring and nice.
Oh, these are things we haven't touched upon. Speaking of that purgatory thing, we'll touch on how this movie looks. That was an effect that looked kind of weird IMO.
Yeah, it was strange and it was very
Well,
off-putting. I thought.
specifically, like the wall that separated them, I thought that looked real weird. Didn't break. I should like clarify that nothing, like really, there's nothing. We all recommend this movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It was so freaking good.
That's probably something we should have put at the beginning of the podcast. Oops. But this is great. Nothing about this is breaking. If you like the first movie, you'll probably like this.
I feel like this one, at least I feel like some of the jokes weren't so forced. Like, I feel like some of the jokes in the first one were kind of lewd and sexual just to be lewd and sexual.
We didn't really
I think
get
my biggest problem with the first movie was at the end when he was looking over to his girlfriend and they had all the cartoons that were like having sex or whatever, and I thought that was kind of ridiculous. I feel like that didn't. Nothing in this movie fell in.
There actually wasn't a whole lot of. Was there a lot of sex jokes? Do I remember?
No,
Yeah,
there really was
were.
not.
They were pretty tame about the sex jokes in this one.
But I still think it was hilarious.
Right. I mean, you don't need sex jokes. What are you doing, Paul? Sounds like
What?
that sounded. It sounded like you turned on a vacuum cleaner over there.
No, I did not.
Okay. I thought
I'm
you were.
good.
I thought you were like revving up for a sex joke for a second there. That's what I thought that was.
Oh no, I could have done that though. That would have been hilarious.
I mean, it could have been.
But it could not have been.
It could not have
But
been.
yeah, no, I don't know. I recommend this movie. It's a fun action adventure.
Do not
It-
be a dumbass and take your kids to this movie.
Okay, no shit. There was literally a group of like 11-year-olds who came in to my theater.
Wait,
and
but
I
it's
was like,
rated R.
Well, their parents let them in. If
One
you are
parent.
a parent, do
you are a
not
bad parent.
do not
for
bring your
letting kids see
fucking
that.
don't bring your fucking kids. If they're the under,
There was someone who also brought their 2-year-old
What?
to this. Yeah.
are you serious?
Well,
not
I mean, a
even kidding.
2-year-old's not. Well, what do I? I'm not a parent, obviously.
2-year-olds are very impressionable.
I would. Yeah, you shouldn't bring a kid
Like,
to this if
you
they're
shouldn't
like
bring
under.
anyone under 16 to see this movie. If you do,
They could end up like Wade Wilson.
They could
he
end
kills
up.
people
he
for a living,
He kills people for a living, and he's very morally ambiguous.
and he got cancer.
And he got cancer.
So-
There's a correlation between that, probably. I don't
Do
have
you
to.
want your kids to
Everybody
get
with cancer out there, you're very strong, and I'm sorry.
Hashtag sarcasm.
We are against cancer on the Midtown High Dropouts podcast.
Yeah, not pro cancer here. I know it's an unpopular opinion nowadays.
Also,
Okay, you
we're
crabs.
not affiliated with Zoe after this episode.
And I'm not affiliated with cancer in any way.
Okay. Do we? What else do you guys think about this movie? Because I feel like we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I've been
There's
through
not a
all
lot to
of my
say about
notes.
Deadpool.
Oh, really? You got through all your notes? It's right. You're more professional than all of us combined. Right. So, good movie. Would recommend. Would like to see another one. Probably. Actually, I'd be pretty okay if we didn't get another one after this. But there
I
is.
ended on such a good note.
Yeah. I guess there is
Shooting
some. There's
both
some loose
And
ends.
Baraka Pool in the head, and then shooting Ryan Reynolds in the head for accepting Green Lantern.
I have not seen Green Lantern.
I have not.
I mean, in eons. It really
It's a
can't be
very
that
bad movie. No, it's a bad movie. I watched it after coming home from Deadpool. It was bad.
Why? Why?
I remember one
Because
part
it
where he made
reminded-
it like a green car, and that's pretty much it.
No, because he shot himself in the head for Green Lantern, and I was like, oh, it can't be as bad as I remember.
Oh,
Oh no, it's bad.
I'm surprised. Okay, let's go back to the jokes real quick. I'm surprised that all the referential jokes all landed pretty well.
Yeah, within the audience. Some of them did not. I didn't get some of them. I think there was one about an actor that I didn't go and understand. But also there were ones that I got that I'm sure other people didn't, like the Rob Liefeld joke.
No, I got it.
Right.
Something
Oh,
about drawing feet.
I'm so sad that most people won't get that.
I mean, it's fine. Like they got other ones, and
Yeah, that's
I just thought it was nice to sprinkle it in there,
That
like
was- yeah, that
talking
was-
about how Cable is bigger in the comics or whatever. I was
Yes.
like, yes, he is bigger. Because when I saw the
And in the
casting, I was
shot
like, that
right-
guy is a fucking twink compared to Cable.
Well,
You
I
should see some of the
well
stuff Josh
Zoe,
Brolin posts to his Instagram.
Zoe, I don't know about you, but I imagine it's hard to find some 6'10" people who can act out in this.
Shh.
I don't-
Be quiet.
I like
Out
the
of-
shot of him and Cable standing next to each other, and it's obvious that Deadpool's like looking down on him.
Is
That
Ryan
shit's
Reynolds
funny.
a tall? Is he like over 6 feet? Is Ryan
He's
Reynolds
like 6'1",
because Josh Brolin's only like 5'10"?
5'11".
Oh, and also, fact that I wanted to add in here at the very beginning, but I didn't get to. Ryan Reynolds won People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive in 2010.
I think
Yes,
they
we
made
know
a,
that.
I think they made that joke in. No, they didn't make that joke in the first one. They
I
made,
like the Wolverine series. Ryan Reynolds.
I'm sad that we won't see Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds on the same screen as Deadpool and Wolverine because he's done. It's
Oh,
unfortunate.
that would be a great movie.
No, I'm
Good
sure
job,
he would make another one if it was a Deadpool Wolverine movie.
Or if
I
it's
don't
in,
think so. He's old, bro. He
Yeah.
wants a break.
God, he's fucking ripped.
Which
Oh
one?
my gosh.
Jackman or Reynolds?
Huge jacked man. He's
Huge jacked man?
He gets pretty. He's pretty good for what? He's like 50.
Oh yeah.
He can still kill most
He's
people.
been playing Wolverine for nearly 20 years now.
well,
yeah,
he's
no, and
done.
only one of the movies was good.
Well, I mean, you didn't like the first two. I guess you said you didn't like any of the X-Men.
I like the Wolverine, and I like Logan.
Logan's
Those
great.
are the best Wolverine movies.
Logan was kind of an unexpected, really good movie.
Remember when they were going to make a Gambit movie with?
They're still trying.
Yes.
They're still trying. They're working on it with Channing
the
Tatum.
Disney deal that's going to go through.
We don't know that. They're still working on it. Summer of 2019, assuming Comcast doesn't give them, assuming Fox doesn't accept Comcast.
Comcast can't outbid Disney.
They bid 60 billion against Disney's 52.4 billion.
Well, they're just making Disney come and give them more money. They're probably
Or
gonna
I
go
mean,
like 70 billion.
Fox is probably just gonna be like, yeah, I'll just give it to Disney because they don't have to give it to Comcast just because they have more money. Even though
Disney will own everything, and then all they need is Sony, and then their Infinity Gauntlet is getting pretty big right now.
Who's gonna take them down?
No
Who knows?
one.
Google. I guess we should wrap this up.
All right.
I like this movie. Paul liked the movie, and Zoe liked the movie, and we'd recommend it.
I would.
It's a
Strongly.
good movie.
Aggressively. I'd
I
recommend it.
don't want to jinx.
Aggressively recommend.
I don't want to jinx it, Paul, but I'm glad we're having such a lot more output in episodes, and there wasn't a 4-month gap
Oh,
between
yeah.
this and the
Most
last.
definitely.
Yeah, and
Thanks for listening.
hopefully we'll have a solo episode on soon.
A solo episode.
I would hope not just one of us is on and talks about it. That'd be kind of weird.
I could do it.
Have you seen the movie?
Nope.
Okay.
It's good. You should see it.
So
Got a nice voice though.
Zoe,
I've got bullet points.
would you like to plug anything that we can put under the YouTube description thingy? Do you want to plug anything?
The only thing I would like to plug is that I have an art Instagram, and I'm always looking for exposure. It is ZoeHead1 or ZoeHead.art on Instagram. ZoeHead.art. Follow me. Thank you so much.
That'll be
There you go.
in the link down there. We have a Twitter which I will link, and I forgot the name of. Paul runs it. Paul, have you updated the Twitter actually?
I think I need to make a couple updates. It's
Okay.
been a while since
All right.
we've made some real episodes.
Also, thanks to our editor Oro and Anthony, who they both edit and they spend a lot of time working hard on this. Appreciate their effort. I will link Oro's channel as well. Please subscribe to them, and subscribe here, preferably. That'd be cool too if you did that. Zoe, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you. No, it's a problem.
Yeah, no, you. Hopefully we can have you on again. This was pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of
All right.
course.
Thanks for listening to this. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.